Hello Rogues and Disciples, it's Leo K. I'm here with another little channel update video just to keep you up to speed on current affairs and what's happening regarding the channel and my life and all that. So in the background I'm playing some of the Order 1886, which is a PlayStation 4 exclusive title that I'll probably talk a little bit about later on in this video. The Order 1886 is not a stealth game, but if Ready at Dawn ever make a sequel to the Order and it's got much more stealth in it, I'd love to play that. Anyway, first things first, it's my birthday tomorrow, so I bought myself a pop filter for my microphone. I'll just read the Wikipedia definition of what a pop filter is, just to keep things concise. So, a pop filter, or pop shield, is an anti-pop noise protection filter for microphones, typically used in a recording studio. It serves to reduce or eliminate popping sounds caused by the mechanical impact of fast-moving air on the microphone during recorded speech and singing. Now, I've actually got the pop filter installed in front of my microphone right now, and I'll be listening to this video once it's finished processing, so I can see if there's a good noticeable difference in quality with the pop filter versus without. But I'd love it if you guys let me know too. That would help me a lot. It would help me gather conclusions about whether I should keep using it or if I shouldn't really bother. Like, does it make a noticeable difference? Are you sensing that it sounds a bit better with it? Just stuff like that. Now, I could have stopped the video here since that's pretty much most of what I wanted to say about it, but since I've got footage of the Order running in the background, I figured I'd say a word or two about this game. Now, my thoughts and feelings on this game run quite contrary to the mainstream or popular opinion about it. I like the Order. I like it a lot, actually. It's probably one of my favorite games ever made. Bear in mind that I didn't pay full price for this game. I picked it up for around 15 bucks, and that's quite cheap here in Canada, so that definitely contributed a lot to the way I feel about this game. Like, for $15, what the Order is and what it gave me, I want to say that was worth it, but if you were to pay like 60 to 80 bucks for it on release, I can see how you'd be disappointed, because this game doesn't really have much to it. It's just the campaign. It's like a 6 to 8 hour campaign. You play it, that's it, you're good, you're done. There's no multiplayer, there's almost no replayability. There's no reason to replay this game unless you just really liked it for some reason, or you're crazy like me. So really, you're just gonna get that one playthrough out of it, and for 15 bucks, that's pretty good. Now, what some people know about me and what others have no idea about is that I'm a huge proponent of game feel. Game feel, or the kinesthetics of a game, is a big deal to me. If a game has a great story, a long campaign, cool ideas and mechanics, and the shiniest graphics in the world, all of that stuff is great. That's fine and everything, but if the game doesn't have good game feel, I'm not going to enjoy it very much. How well and fluidly a game plays, how much my brain enjoys it, or as my girlfriend says, how crunchy a game is, that's super important to me. Like, when I'm playing a game, I want it to feel good in my hands. A lot of the time, if a game feels good in my hands, I can forgive stuff that it does poorly in terms of other mechanics or story or narrative. But if a game doesn't run well or doesn't feel good in my hands, doesn't feel good to play on a moment-to-moment basis, it doesn't matter how good your story is. It doesn't matter how interesting or clever your mechanics are, because it doesn't feel good to play. And that's just how I am. Not every game critic would agree with me, but that is the kind of person I am. That's the kind of gamer I am. That is the kind of game analyst I am. Game feel is very important to me. Now, when it's being a game, the Order 1886 has fantastic game feel. When I say when it's being a game, I mean that a lot of the Order is going to consist of the player chilling out and watching pretty cutscenes, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with it because I very much enjoyed the atmosphere and the tone of the story, even if it was pretty simple and it's a tale I've seen before. When it's being a movie, the Order's only real flaw is that it doesn't like to give the player much opportunity to be agent. It doesn't give the player many chances to act and be an active participant. Like, it likes to stay a movie for a lot of its runtime. And it's pretty great when it does let you play, and coupled with its great game feel, the Order eventually became this game I could chill out with and play a checkpoint or two just to unwind. So even though I'm a huge lover of systemic games and stealth games, games where you can play them how you want and you're free to, think up clever solutions. Every once in a while I like to sink into a linear game and just experience the journey that a dev has crafted for me. One of the things a lot of critics hated about the Order was the fact that the movie-style black bars that you see on the top and bottom of the screen, they often obscure your vision of the battlefield while you're in cover. Now, this was a deliberate choice Ready at Dawn made, and I like it. I like it because a genuine mechanic exists in the game that I think a lot of people didn't notice. Holding up or forward on the left stick while you're in cover will actually make you peek over it, which lets you look around. It lets you see your environment. It makes you more vulnerable to damage than if you were to just stay behind cover without doing anything, but it still shields you from gunfire a lot more than not being in cover at all. This is cool. There's depth there. The feeling of hiding behind an obstacle against people trying to kill you while you can't really see what's on the other side, that lends the game a kind of delightful stress and desperation in the middle of gunfights that I haven't really seen any other game replicate. And when you take this black sight mechanic here, where it essentially allows you to insta-kill a few enemies for free, the game has this kind of ebb and flow where you're against stressful odds and stressful situations, and you're in cover, you're hunkered down, you're trying to stay alive, and you're surviving, and then every once in a while you just pop your L1 and just shoot like 30 people, and you just clear an entire room with black sight like it's no problem. It's cool. It's a cool, I guess, flow. Now, I don't think other games will probably replicate this, and I definitely haven't played other games that do, because no other third-person shooter will be willing to remove the player's vision of their surroundings while in cover. The shooting's very standard, and there's nothing much special to it, but the way all the guns sound feels really great to me, as well as how responsive the crosshairs are to aim and move around. Another thing I really love is the hit marker on enemies and how Galahad will sometimes yell out things like, "Target down," in addition to the hit marker changing from gray, which means you've done damage to an enemy, to red, which means you've killed that enemy. Despite it being simplistic, I like it. It feels really good. Now, at this point, I'm gonna talk about Lycans a little bit, because we're about to fight one in the background footage. Lycans are disappointingly rare. They're maybe the one thing about the game that I actually felt, I want more of this. Like, why didn't you give me more of this? They're still fun to kill whenever you do get to fight them. I like how the ones in this encounter are some of the few enemy types in this game that are genuinely learnable. And what I mean is, there's a certain way to fight them that is straight up the most effective way you can fight them. And doing anything other than that means you're never going to be putting the most damage on them that you could be. And despite that cool little strategy never changing after you learn it once, it's fun to use against them. So you can kind of see me doing it already. Basically what it comes down to is you can try to shoot them as they're charging at you and dodge their attack, but the shooting before the dodge, that's just a bonus. Don't rely on that. The real damage from you comes from using the Falchion's steam burst on them after the dodge, which it lets you shove them around a bit and stun them for a moment, letting you unload a ton more bullets into them. Killing them this way is really fast. I also like this from a design perspective because it makes the Falchion steam burst genuinely useful. In some ways I think it might have been designed specifically to combat these enemies because it's meant to be a short-ranged like a short-range stun that sets up bullet damage from your rifle, and other than fighting Lycans, no situation in the game makes sense to even try to use the steam burst in, because all of your enemies, humans with guns, will be far enough away from you that you won't ever get in range to use the steam burst. And even if you get in range to do it, it makes more sense to just melee them down for an instant kill anyway. I've never really ran into a situation where there's two guys that I've ran up to, and I steam burst them both, and melee kill one of them, and then melee kill the other one. Although you could do that, I guess. It's definitely something possible. And yeah, I'm sure if I really took the time to think about the Order, I would have a lot to say about it, because the game has got its pros and cons. I think it would be a cool game to study, a cool game to analyze and break down. It would just be tough to do because of the way gameplay and cutscenes are all kind of chopped together. So during this chase we're kind of running after this Lycan, and we want to kill him to make sure the people of London are no longer terrorized. And yeah, we're just gonna blow him up with the art gun, which is my favorite gun in the game. And that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kinda long-winded, just wanted to fill up the footage with stuff to talk about. And yeah, mostly it was just a big test for the pop filter. I want to see if it works well. And if it does, please let me know in the comments. And I'll meet you all in the shadows next time.